Hey guys, and welcome back for part 2 of my crazy ex-girlfriend story. I also want to thank you guys for supporting me. We're getting really close to 1 million. So I opened the message of the girl who said she knew who made the Instagram account. I realized that the message was from my boyfriend's ex's best friend too. She told me that obviously it was the ex-girlfriend and that she was really crazy and that I need to be careful and watch my back. I was absolutely terrified. I couldn't really tell if this was a joke or not. Like I was hoping that someone was just messing with me. I ended up reaching out to the account that was posting about me and tried to confront her on the situation. Soon after I messaged this fake account, she ended up deleting everything, which is good, but I got some more stories from her best friend. Like whenever her and her ex broke up, she actually claimed that she was the devil's daughter and could hear and see stuff or something like that. She basically just did a lot of stuff for attention. So the moral of the story is please be careful if you're dating someone with a crazy ex. If you guys have a story you'd like me to share, DM me on Instagram or just follow for more content.
Part 2. My boyfriend gave me sleeping pills before his boys' night out. After I accused my boyfriend of messing with the cocktails, he admitted to putting a couple Benadryl in my drink. This, mixed with the alcohol, is what made me extremely sleepy and caused me to knock out for the whole night. I was furious when he said it. He clearly didn't see a problem with it and even made a joke about how he should do it more often when he doesn't want me pestering him. I freaked out at him and told him that what he did was not only wrong but could also be a crime. I think this scared him a bit because he quickly started apologizing and promising to never do it again. Obviously, I'm not stupid and I wasn't going to stay with someone who would do that to me. I quickly called my family who came rushing over. I packed my things and my brothers kept my now ex in the other room and threatening him not to come around me. I got all my things together with my mom and my sister and left him that very day. He wouldn't stop blowing up my phone with apologies and sending sorry gifts to my work. I had to block his number and threaten him with a restraining order if he ever tried to talk to me again. I was horrified that someone would go to those lengths and I couldn't trust him after this. He even tried to get his family to text me to get back together with him, but when I told them why we broke up, they were shocked too. They apologized profusely on his behalf and told me to stay safe. He assaulted her at least 3,000 times in those 24 years, which resulted in her birthing 7 children. She gave birth to all her children with no medical help for almost 12 years. Joseph provided her with just a disinfectant, a dirty pair of scissors, and a book on childbirth. One of her children died prematurely due to difficulty breathing just 3 days after his birth in 1996. When the baby started to come, Elizabeth tried to end it all, but looking at her kids, she had purpose to live after the initial years of being alone. Joseph held control over her by threatening to end the lives of her and her children if they ever tried to escape. He would also turn off the lights in the basement for days on end so that she'd be in complete darkness. 3 of her children were in the basement with her, while the other 3 mysteriously appeared on the doorstep of Joseph and Rosemary, Elizabeth's mother, as per his planning. He doctored letters to Rosemary from Elizabeth saying that she was well but couldn't take care of the children. One day, Elizabeth's oldest daughter, Kirsten, who was 19 at the time, became extremely ill and needed immediate hospitalization. This is when Elizabeth pleaded with her father to get Kirsten medical attention. Joseph Fritzl, who had never shown mercy in those 24 years, surprisingly took Kirsten to the hospital. This is when things took a turn.
My boyfriend's body odor is so bad that I'm considering breaking up with him. Am I the asshole? His pee-pee smells really bad. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 6 months now. The thing is, he's actually really good looking and he's hot. He's actually got an amazing body. He's an athlete. A few months into us dating, I started noticing that he was smelling a little funky. Especially when I tried to go down there, if you know what I mean. So I just never offered. Then I started noticing that he smelled really bad after every single practice. I'm the type of person that will always tell somebody if they have something in their teeth, or if there's something on your face, I'm gonna let you know. So one day I told him that he kind of stank and that he needed to take a shower. That's when he told me that his coach and his entire team are very superstitious and that they can only shower twice a week. Otherwise, they risk losing the entire season. This means I have to put up with him stinking all the time. Every time I go to kiss him, something stinks. So I basically stopped touching him. And this is making him really angry. I mean, am I a bad girlfriend? Go to part 2.
Part 2 of why you shouldn't play around with dark magic. Over the next few weeks, I was feeling really off. I had virtually no appetite, I was extremely weak, and I was losing time. I would find myself zoned out for small periods of time and then realize what was going on a few minutes later. Another thing was that the cut on my hand wasn't healing. I ended up texting my best friend whose dad is a pastor. I explained what I did and how I was feeling. They lived in the mountains and he told me to immediately go visit them. When I arrived, they both instantly noticed that I looked depressed and there was something off about my usually pleasant demeanor. Since our families are religious, they were pretty upset with me for what I had done. They ended up having to do an exorcism on me that very night. Apparently, the ritual I had done was summoning a spirit to come inhabit my body and I had willingly gave it permission. The moment they cast it out, I gasped for air and felt a weight off my shoulders. It was like taking a deep breath after an uphill hike. I had a crystal that I used as protection. They used it as a vessel to bind whatever was inside me to it. The crystal was light in color prior to the exorcism, but afterwards it was a smoky gray. They drove me to a cliff in a secluded area and I threw the crystal over the edge. Over the next few days, my appetite slowly returned and I felt normal again. I've stayed clear of witchcraft ever since.
Story time! Okay, so when I was in school one day, it was lunchtime. I was sitting at the table with all of my friends, but then I had to use the bathroom, and to leave the cafeteria, you have to ask one of the lunch monitors. Now, most of the time, I didn't even have to use the bathroom in the first place. I was just bored and trying to leave the cafeteria. So the lunch monitors let me go, and it was about a 2-minute walk from the cafeteria to the bathrooms in my school. My school had 2 floors, and there were 3 different stairwells on the 2nd floor where I was. So I started walking, and I was about halfway to the bathroom when all of a sudden, the code red alarm went off. This code meant that there was an intruder in the building. The lights in the hallway shut off, and I couldn't see anything but a faint light coming from the cafeteria. There were no windows or anything, so it was pitch black. That's when I ran to the cafeteria and I tried opening the doors, but they were locked. So then I tried running through the hallways to see if I could open one of the classroom doors, but since it was lunchtime, most of the teachers leave the school and lock their doors until they get back. So I started running in the dark and I ran into a set of lockers and I fell. And I could tell I was bleeding, but that didn't matter because I didn't know if the school intruder had come up the stairs yet. So then I saw an exit sign glowing in red. And I knew that it was right next to one of the stairwells, so I ran towards it and turned the corner. And I also knew that the bathrooms were down this hall.
Story time about how I was manipulated by a nurse in a psych ward. When I was 19 years old, I was admitted to a psychiatric ward for women for attempting to unalive myself. Most of the other women there were also there for this reason and for personality disorders. We were long-term patients who were held there against our will for our own safety. Me and some of the other women had our favorite staff members, one of which was a male nurse. He was 35 years old, seemed nice, always had our backs, and would often talk about his son in personal life. This made us all feel comfortable with him. Some days, a group of us would be allowed to go off the premises with a staff member and hang around the town for 2 hours. However, some things weren't allowed, such as using the phone while we were out in case a phone call upset us, or mood-altering drinks such as energy drinks or alcohol. Since our freedom was restricted most of the time, we'd always ask for him to be the one who took us. He would let us buy drinks and go off on our own. He would also let us use a phone to make calls to our family, buy us food and cigarettes. He even drove back the long way so we wouldn't have to be back so soon. At the time, we didn't really know why he would be so nice and lenient because he could lose his job letting us do those things. However, one day out of the blue,
Girls, tell me about a time where your quick thinking probably saved your life. I'll go first. 2 years ago, I was walking my dog at the park and a man approached me and asked to take a picture of her. And I said yes, because why not? It's a picture of a dog. So he starts taking a picture of my dog, and then I realized that he was like holding up her collar, and then it hit me. My address is on that collar. He's not taking a picture of my dog, he's taking a picture of my address. So I told him that I actually didn't feel comfortable with him having a picture of my dog, and I asked him to delete it. So he deletes it and then like starts walking away really fast. And I was like, "Excuse me, sir, no, could you also go into your deleted album and delete it from there?" And he goes, "I don't have a deleted album." And I was like, "You have an iPhone, everybody has a deleted album, could you please delete the picture?" And he was like, "Sorry, I don't have a deleted album," and like keeps walking away. And keep in mind, this is like 2 PM in a park, like there's other people around. So now I'm like chasing after him and I'm telling him, "Sir, I know you have the album, I will show you where the album is, can you please go onto your phone so that we can delete the picture?" Oh, part 2.
Anonymous story time. The first and last time I did this girl's nails, she came in with 2 of her friends. One of her friends started touching my things and kind of snooping around. From the corner of my eye, I seen her touch her purse. She would turn around to look at her friends and say, "Oh my god, look at this color, it's so pretty." She then walked over to the coat rack where my purse was hanging. She started saying, "Wow, it's getting really warm in here. Do you mind turning down the heater just a little bit, please?" I was like, "Oh yeah, give me a minute," and I walked out of the room. I heard her say pretty loud, "I'm gonna take off my sweater." When I come back, they're all acting really weird. I'm trying to finish this girl's nails and I overhear one of the friends whisper to the other friend, "Just put it all back." I am so stupid for thinking these girls would not steal from me. I finish up the girl's nails, she pays me, thanks me, says how much she loves them, and then they all walk out. As I'm cleaning up, I start counting my money and I realize that the $100 bill she gave me says play money. Then I notice I have gels and glitters missing. I look everywhere and realize this bitch took my shit. I check my purse and all my—
This is how I found out my dad was following me on OnlyFans. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it's sending me on Instagram. As soon as I read his long text message about why he signed up, I once again blocked him. 20 minutes later, there's a knock on my door. Yep, it's my fucking father. Started knocking on the door so hard my neighbors came out. Called 911 and they came within a minute. I live in an area where there aren't too many people, so my house is really easy to find. Saw my dad walk to the backyard and try to get in through the back. That's when a cop stopped him and asked him what he was doing. Then he told the cop that I had invited him over. Then the cop comes to my door and asked me if I had invited him. I told him I didn't. Then I told the cop about OnlyFans. My dad was so ashamed he actually denied it. But of course I had all the receipts. I showed the cop my phone and the cop told him that he needed to leave me alone. He left my house and I didn't have the heart to tell my mom. But later that night I see another person sign up to my OnlyFans. Turns out it was my dad again. This time he was offering me $3,000 for more pictures. And he confessed that he couldn't help but love me as a woman because I didn't grow up with him. Excuse me, sir? You raised me for half of my childhood. Wanted to get a restraining order but the judge says it's not that easy. So now I'm considering closing my OnlyFans. I don't think it's fair though. What
Am I the asshole for getting my boyfriend arrested? I'll just get straight into it. I'm a college student and this was my last semester until medical school. I've never been able to get a loan and I've worked for 5.5 years to get this degree because I have to pay out of pocket, so it takes way longer. I've worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs at a time and barely had a social life. For this upcoming semester, I reached my goal for tuition, so I quit one of my jobs so I could relax a bit. I was a server/bartender at 2 bars and had an office job, so I always have cash hidden in my apartment in my closet in a box. And before the semester starts, a week or 2 before, I deposit it so I can pay my tuition. My boyfriend sometimes stays over when I'm there and when I'm not. Since I've been saving for this semester, he's the only one who's been over and I've never told him about the box, but he knows I have to pay for school. Well, yesterday night I get home and put money in the box because I was planning on depositing it today and it's all gone. No, don't tell me your boyfriend took it. I freaked out and tore my apartment up, thinking I put it somewhere else, knowing I didn't. I called my boyfriend like crazy and no answer. I didn't sleep last night and I was panicking.
Guys, while I was filming these nails, an unknown number started phoning me and something within me said, just answer. So I answered and this guy's like, hi, this is Tony from TK Maxx. And I was like, TK Maxx? Why would TK Maxx be phoning me? Like, what? This must be a scam. Like, I'm going to bam you up for trying to scam me. And then this guy was like, no, actually, sorry, we know you're a regular online customer and we're looking to see how we can improve our service because you've not placed an order in a while. And I was like, oh, right, okay, sorry about that. I thought you were trying to scam me. So I gave him a suggestion and he said, that is an amazing suggestion. Like, that is so good. I'm going to send you a gift voucher. And I was like, okay. No, they've sent me a £50 gift voucher to spend online or in store. I'm so buzzing with that.